Hi, I'm Steph, and welcome to or welcome back to the Special Interest Library. I'm sorry I was unable to film for a couple weeks because I was sick with a really bad sinus cold. I am so glad to finally be well, but the only thing is, I've still been having some problem with my sinuses on and off because of a headache, which has made it very difficult for me to read and write. I did, however, was able to finish Carmilla, which of course was written in the 1800s or 19th century. That was very hard to read. And it was very hard to read, but it was very interesting. And I did not know what to expect, really, especially with everything I've heard about it, read about it, and everything. It ended up being, I don't know, like, I don't know. It's just one of those things where if it was modern, it would have been so cool. You know, if it was written more in the modern era. Because let me tell you something. It's not about when it takes place. It's when it was written that matters when it comes to understanding. And the same goes for Dracula, which was also written in the 1800s, 19th century. Very interesting, but I don't know, these books are a little hard to follow the way because of the way they're written, because it was, the 19th century, the 1800s. I'm really getting into it though. I really am enjoying both books, but like I said, the language is just so different. The writing style back then was way different. Everything was just different. Like, if somebody can translate these classic books into modern day language, and with some of the old language, but it's just context. Okay. I just want to be able to understand context a lot better with these. I'm wondering if anybody else has that problem. Anyway, so at this point I decided that I am starting new with a new book in terms of not reading but writing. And so last night I drew up ideas for character names, for the protagonist and love interest. I also came up with a romance backstory for the protagonist, so that way I had a better understanding and idea of her false belief when it comes to herself in romance, or her lie, as some people call it in the written world, in the writing world. Um, but see here. But for those of you that don't understand, like, I'm sure even if you don't write, you understand, like, when you read, each character starts with a false belief, uh, especially in romance, like the protagonist and the romantic interest will both have false beliefs about themselves, about themselves in romance, what to expect in romance. So I write urban fantasy right now, urban fantasy romance right now, and also my biggest my biggest trope that I like to write is reverse age gap romance, which is when the woman is older than the man. And in order for this to really work and really fall into that, there needs to be at least a 15-year age gap. I tend to write 20-year age gaps, but I've only had experience in 15-year age gap so far, because my youngest ex-boyfriend is 15 years younger than me. I was in my 30s. He was in his 20s. I'm not going to even fill in all that, but there was 15-year difference. You do the math. But anyway, I'm glad to be back. It's just a little nerve-wracking to be back after a couple weeks of not being able to film. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope you get something out of this. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. Also, please let me know in the comments what your special interests are and or what you're reading right now, or if you want to share, if you're writing something, if there's anything that you're writing that you would like to share, whether it's something about your particular book or maybe some advice for writers, for aspiring writers that really are trying to hone their craft right now. I know I would appreciate it, and I'm sure others will too. So thank you for sharing. And thank you for joining me. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.